what Jimmy wanted to tell you was that right now, one of the issues that came up at the last Parks and Recreation Committee meeting was the issue of Hart Island. So she wanted to tell you some history of Hart Island, which I'll go through very quickly. That in 1868, it was the fourth Potter's Field that was put into service by the city of New York. That there's an area that's designated for infants, and a separate area designated for infants and young people. There was a prisoner's burial program from the Department of Corrections that was established several years ago on the island itself, and that the prisoners, well, they're not really prisoners, the detainees from Rikers Island are the people who perform tasks, and they do that voluntarily 2 days a week. And yeah.
One thing that Ken said, he's louder than I am. I'm loud when I'm trying to protect my community. And the one thing that you should know, every time there was something the city or the state didn't know what to do with, Hart Island, okay, we had to fight the homeless being there in the early 60s. We had to fight the drug program from the state of New York. We had to fight so many things, it wasn't even funny. Insofar as getting rid of garbage, oh yeah, that's a good place. Let's put it on Hart Island. Let's build a bridge of garbage from City Island to Hart Island. Thank goodness we have the National Civic Association. I was the president for 20 years. I know what we had to go through. Basically speaking, we are now facing the idea of creating Hart Island as a park area, still bury the unknown dead, and in some cases people who could not afford to have a burial. And I can understand the young woman who told about the baby. Unfortunately, I went through something very similar with my best girlfriend, whose little baby died in the hospital. They do have a routine in the city of New York. The hospital keeps the babies usually 6 days, then it goes to the medical examiner, and then it is depending on family. In her case, she was very, very, very sick. Her husband was desolated. The end result was the baby was buried in Hart Island. There is a special place set aside for all of the infants that died. There is a statue of the Blessed Mother at the entrance to where that small cemetery is located. Hart Island is an island that has a lot of history. It was part of the Underground Railroad during the Civil War. Many, many people from the South came up and were able to go up to Canada and create a new government. The end result of it is there is a lot of history there. Now, one of the things that was brought out by a previous speaker was there is no plan set up. Everybody knows if you're going to do something, you have to plan ahead. And what are you going to do to get it established? So that is why this board contacted the Department of Correction, contacted the Department of Parks to find out how they were going to plan this. You and I had talked about it, but we still have to have government money, our taxpayers, ladies and gentlemen, be used to get it properly set up. The end result is that the ferry that is used is very old. It really should be replaced. It makes the trips between Fordham Street, City Island, across to the dock on Hart Island. The bodies are taken in the coffins in vans from the Department of Corrections. The prisoners are the ones that dig the graves and administer different things. When I say different things, administer some things. There's a lot of things, but since one of my friends, John, gave my vote to you, and I voted at the civic building of 40 people, I voted against. For the simple reason I believe in planning and doing it correctly. So therefore, I asked Bob to read the decision of the board. We discussed this quite a bit. I appreciate Bob's voice, which is nice to have.
Okay, we did take the census at the board, even though we did not have a quorum. The census at the board was that the majority of people present were in favor. So I am going to read the resolutions. We have two separate resolutions. First, resolved that the recommendation of the Parks and Recreation Committee of Bronx Community Board 10, that the board approve City Council Intro number 133, a local law to amend the administrative code of the City of New York in relation to ferry service to Hart Island, and that the full board support this legislation. May I have a motion to approve? We have a motion. Can I get a second? And a second on the issue. Any discussion, any questions on this topic? Yes.
If I'm correct, I was at that meeting and I read it, and it didn't say to amend it, it said to maintain and operate.
No, Pete, this particular is this is a local law to amend the administrative code. You're amending the administrative code. So that's part of the city's charter, so that's what that is. So that is correct. Okay? It's a local law to amend the administrative code in relation to ferry service. All right, you're amending the code, not the service. Lou, you got a question? You have a statement?
I'm speaking in favor of both pieces of legislation. One thing that has become clear